All right. Good evening to all of you, and congratulations to our new council elect and Mayor elect Brown. We are having our last official meeting as a past council, and I will call this meeting to order. And I have only one thing to do is the swearing in of the new mayor, which is done with an oath, and we'll do that right now. And then I'm officially no longer the mayor.
Hmm? What dog uses eagle feathers? Oh, really?
I, Paula Brown,
I, Paula Brown,
swear that I will diligently,
swear that I will diligently,
faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law
execute
office of mayor.
office of mayor. So help me God. I'm good. I'll go as Mayor Brown. Thank you.
Doesn't know where the mayor from in.
I think we should all just take a minute and give the former mayor a round of applause. It's an honor serving, learning from you. Thank you.
Well, it's better to have another word uncle. The first term was I was the only woman was whoo. But
Thank you.
now we're creating
That's
a new
misogynistic.
legacy here.
Sure. Sorry, Councilor Kennedy.
Thank
Okay.
you. I take my back.
It's very misogynistic.
Okay.
So yeah, you can.
Okay, so can I bring them all up?
Thank you. Just start swearing him in one at a time.
Okay, so let's start, Councilor Kennedy.
Yep.
Thanks, Mayor.
I, Jared Kenley, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of town councilor, so help me God.
I, Timothy John Court, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute.
I will have Councilor Smith.
I, Kent Wyman, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of town council.
council.
Hey, welcome to the new council.
Do we want to do photos now or after?
Do you want photos? Do
It's up to you. I took individual ones. I don't know if you want a full one or even just around the table.
Let's get it around the table.
Okay. Back in on that one around the table. Everybody. Three.
Smile.
I'm just taking lots.
Thank you. So, welcome to everyone. I can tell you that's where the excitement ends. No offense, but we're going to get into budgets and all sorts of things. If you would like to stay, you're more than welcome. But if you want to go run, you can go run. But thank you for coming. We're excited to get to work. All right. Please.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Court, all in favor? All right, we're gonna go right into number 3, document review. As this is our organizational meeting for the Cardston Town Council held this day, the 28th day, October 2020. Viewing our document. So we've got bylaw 1703, council procedure bylaw. So I'll turn the time over to Jeff.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Here's meeting 1 of many more. I almost want to preemptively apologize just a bit. You're going to hear a lot from me tonight, more than you will normally hear from me in a council meeting. And for those of you who are returning or have done this before, I understand there's some level of redundancy here, but please bear with me while we go over some of the important documents. So we're in your organizational meeting, and every year in your org meeting, you will review your procedural bylaw. I'm not going to go through it verbatim tonight. I just want to hit on a couple of things that can help you as a council navigate. So just inside the agenda package, I have another printed one actually, Jen. Do you
Right
want
there.
that?
print one, I thought you.
No, I got one right here for you. I just didn't know who had one, who needed one, but it's ready to go.
Thank you.
So the first thing inside that agenda package is the procedural bylaw. And I mentioned this to you once before. There's a lot here. Oh, absolutely. I can get one right away.
All right, I just can't get into.
I can print it right from here. Give me 1 minute. Actually, Jill, on the T drive in both of these meetings is already a combined agenda. Could you print one for Councillor Johnson? Thank you. So I just want to talk about, in your procedural bylaw, there's a couple things. One is just your general rules of council. And actually your meeting dates and times are set by bylaw. That's a requirement of the Act. So Section 8 says regular meetings of council shall be held in the council chambers on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of every month or on any such other day as council decides. And you guys are going to talk about that a little later in the agenda. You can change and add meetings as needed. So there are certain requirements. You have to give at least 24 hours notice to the public, or, and I've done this once in all my time here, you can have one on the spot. It's just that the majority of council has to sign off on that before the meeting can start. And in fact, some of you councilors might remember in a restaurant in Red Deer, we had a meeting because we had to make a decision that night, and I passed a sheet around and we signed it and had a meeting.
Yeah.
So it's rare, but you can have them impromptu if everyone's in agreement to that. You can participate electronically in meetings. So the most common way now is Zoom or Teams. We used to do them by phone. So you have the ability to meet via Zoom and you're considered in attendance up to some certain parameters. So you can be gone or attend electronically, for a month. And then you need to attend in person to restart that clock. So what the clauses read is a councillor may participate electronically in a regular or special meeting of council. A councillor who participates electronically is deemed to be present. No councillor shall attend more than 30 consecutive days of meetings solely by electronic means unless council passes a resolution. So we've had councillors who had to have, some type of medical procedure or just, COVID, for example, was the perfect example where nobody met for quite a while. So there are always exceptions to the rule. So check that one out when you have a chance, but that's certainly an option for you. Section, what am I in here now? Sorry. So it's page 6 of the bylaw. Halfway down the page, your time that you start is generally a function of your bylaw as well. So it says, the regular meeting of council shall commence at 5 o'clock p.m. and adjourn at 8 o'clock p.m. if in session at that hour, unless otherwise determined by a unanimous vote of the members present. So what happens, and I would love to tell you this never happens, but it happens all the time. We have to extend the meeting. So we're not ready to be done at 8. The business isn't done. So, and it has to be unanimous, but a council would have to make a motion to say, I move to extend the meeting till 9 p.m. or 8:30 or whatever the time might be. And then if it's unanimously supported, the meeting will go to that time. If not, it adjourns at 8 o'clock. Now this is, and in fact, if you go back a number of years, Councillor Selkin Johnson, you might remember some of those meetings were into 11 o'clock, pushing midnight. It was terrible, actually. When I first started with the town, man, those meetings went forever, and nobody's in a good mood after about 10 p.m., let's be honest. That was a little rough. And so probably 4 terms ago, they said, look, let's just make a hard cap at 9 o'clock, and if you need to call a special council meeting to finish the business, call a special council meeting. Everyone felt they were a little better off in 2 short meetings than 1 marathon meeting. So that was the reason for that. But again, this is your bylaw. And over time, if it's not working, you change it however you see fit as a group. Page 9, there's a part 10 called Order of Business. So the first section essentially says, I will have your agendas to you by 4:30 on Fridays, unless I give you notice by that time I can't. So we're going to see that when we go to Alberta Municipalities Conference. I'm up there on Friday. And I will send you an email saying, hey guys, I've been with you for 3 days, haven't had a chance to do an agenda. We'll try and get it put together and get it to you as soon as we can. Now, there's going to be some of those odd exceptions. Sometimes I just have a day that I can't get it done. I'll shoot a text or an email. Hey guys, give me an extra hour, give me 2 hours, and it'll be there. Sometimes I forget to upload it and you're wondering where it is. There's also that happens on occasion, but that's rare. So just so you know, that's set by your bylaw. If you have things you want on the agenda, I just ask that you get it to me by the Thursday. Earlier the better, by the way. But at least what it says is, those wishing to have any items of business on the agenda shall make the submission to the CAO no later than noon on the Thursday of the week prior. Probably not something we've ever held fast. I've never told a councillor, boy, Councillor Cord, it's 1 p.m. Sorry for your luck. We've never had that conversation. If I can accommodate you, I will. I may say to you, hey, that needs a lot of homework. That's going to take a lot of unpacking. Are you okay if that goes to the next meeting? So that may be something I would say to you is, look, I need some time on that. I need staff to have some time on that. We need to consult the public on that or something. Can I have some more time? But I'm not probably going to hold you really, really hard on the noon Thursday. And on that same section, your agendas are actually set by bylaw. So it's not just arbitrary. The bylaw says you're going to have a call to order, if there's additions, delegations, adoption, that whole thing. So that's set by bylaw. And you have discretion over that as well. One thing that's important on, this is subsection 25 on page 10. So you have to vote to adopt your agenda before you proceed with business. If you want to add something on the spot, you can do that, but it will require a unanimous vote of council to have it on there. So we don't see it. I don't know if I've ever seen, well, maybe we've seen a couple times where it hasn't been unanimous, but normally it's okay. You as a council generally have been pretty accommodating of each other, but I will throw a word of caution in that if you show up a lot with a lot of items to be added, no one's done any homework onto it, no one's done any background, nobody has context. It's not a super effective way to get the business. I would much rather you said, hey, I'd really like to see this on the next agenda. Is everybody okay with that? Great. And we'll have it ready. I've never, what would be the right word? I've never screened agenda items. If a councillor comes to me and says, I'd really like this on the agenda, I don't kind of cross out my low priority ones. It goes on the agenda. and you can explain it at the next meeting, it's perfectly fine. But adding things is not a great way to do it. Sometimes there's pressing issues, no doubt about it. Sometimes there's things that are just time sensitive and you need to deal with them, and we'll do that. So that's how that works. You can have anything deleted or anything added by unanimous vote of the council. Let's see. Delegations, this is section 29, page 12. So when people come to me or come to you or come to the office and say, I'd like to come speak to council, we have a presentation to council form. I email people that all the time. They have to fill out, who are you? Why are you coming? What are you asking for? What's your background? And there's a bunch of questions. That's been very effective and very helpful. So I've been here in the days when it's like, people just show up and you kind of think you know what they're asking, and then you're ambushed with something just absolutely wild. So
I would say as counselors, I think it's important for us that when residents reach out to us, that we give administration the heads up. So-and-so called me, they're asking for this, and I always direct it to administration. I say, that's a great question. Let me find out some information. I'll get back to you, or I'm going to pass you off to administration and they will talk to you. But it's really nice to have the heads up, and vice versa. Jeff's really good about giving us the heads up. So-and-so stop by. They're going to be hunting for you. It's really nice to have a heads up. So yeah. I think that works well.
Delegations, I've watched this evolve over my career, and it's much better now. I've seen some really Wild West delegations. Yeah. Huge groups show up. You don't know who's speaking on behalf of them. It's just kind of chaos. The presentation to council form really brought that into order. So I'll get someone that's like, I'm bringing 20 people and we're going to come tell council. I'm like, here's the form. Oh, okay, thanks. And all of a sudden it just diffuses it, right? So on page 20, the rest of that column, it talks about things like, if someone comes to you as a delegation, let's say they're asking for something and you say, no, that doesn't work for us. They don't just get to keep coming back every week until you relent. So what I would say to them, do you have new information on this topic? Well, no, I'm just more mad than I was last week. Well, that's not new information. So sorry. The council's bylaw says that you don't come back. And there's some real world examples I've watched of that where this has been a good clause. Mm-hmm. The other thing we have in here is delegations. We don't want them deviating from their original matter. So that's why we ask for the form. So they don't bait and switch, right? So I came to talk to you about this land use bylaw thing, but really I want a public forum to talk about this. It's like, whoa, hold on. Your form said you were talking about this. If you want to come back about the other thing, that's fine, but not tonight. And then groups making a presentation will be required to designate a maximum of 2 individuals to deliver. This has been very important in controlling torches and pitchfork crowds, right? Where they're all coming. It's like, well, who represents you? Well, okay, I guess we better get a little organized. We better figure that out. Do we have a unified message? Councillor Court, I'll always go back to, you were chairing a meeting once, and there was probably 30 people there, and they kept getting up and saying the exact same thing verbatim. They were all just reading the exact same thing verbatim as though it was taking that long for it to get through to you as a councillor. And I remember you said, does anyone in the audience have anything unique to say? And they were like, well, no. And you're like, good, I'm not hearing anymore. And the person said, you will sit there and listen to me. You'll listen to everyone that wants to come to the mic, is what they said to you. And you said, I'll just shut this down right now and it'll be over.
I want to remember that. But
yeah, I can give you some more detailed ones. I was pretty new here. That's how long ago it was. I was pretty new here, and I was like, wow, look at Councillor Court. All right. And so that's why some of these things have come into play, and it's been good. Section 30, and this is something you'll deal with hundreds of times in your time as council. When a person comes as a delegation, a councillor may ask that person or me relevant questions, but don't debate the matter. So where you get yourself in trouble is Ron Johnson comes as a citizen, says, council, I feel strongly, and Councillor Smith says, Ron, let me tell you all the reasons why that's a terrible idea. That goes nowhere in the council meeting. One of the old adages in municipal government is let them be heard and then deferred. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. This was good information for us. We're going to talk about it at our next meeting and we'll get back to you. Now, it's perfectly appropriate to say, listen, Mr. So-and-so, do I understand this correctly? Is this what you're saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure I got that. But to start to debate the merits of their presentation, they get their back up fast. But I also want to talk about the other side too, where I've seen this almost more often. Most people are coming to you, by the way, with good ideas and good things. That's more common. Don't fawn all over them whilst they stand at the podium because they think their presentation was a slam dunk. They think they're leaving there getting what they asked for. And then I get to be the guy that calls them the next day and says, after further deliberation, council has decided not to support your idea. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Everyone said I was the best thing they'd ever seen ever. And it's okay to say, that's a great idea. We really want to talk about that. Thank you for that. That's something for us to really think about. But be really cautious about saying that's the best thing we've ever heard. For sure it's happening. Because they leave with expectations you may not be able to meet once you start talking later.
No, I would just add to that. One thing that Jeff changed was giving us time, because usually people would come in, they would pitch it, and then we would discuss it. Whereas now they come, they pitch it, then at our next meeting. And so what that does is those hard conversations, it puts it off for us to find out a little bit more information, and then we can talk about it at the next meeting. That's worked really well.
Yeah, we've had a couple of exceptions where, again, it's time sensitive.
Yep.
So somebody might come and say, hey, we're doing this grant application. We really need a letter from the town to support it.
Right.
But I got to submit it on Thursday. It's like, oof, okay, we'll talk about it. But more often than not, what happens with delegations is, thank you for coming. We'll send you away. We have a week or two before the next meeting. Administration does some homework. Council does some thinking about it, talking to other people. They come back to the table and say, there's a couple challenges with that. If we do this, so-and-so, they're not going to be happy about it. And maybe we can't do that. And all of a sudden you've had a sober thought about it. It may still be an awesome idea, but you've had a chance to think about it again. So just keep that in mind. Page 16, section 42 through 44. This is just talking about your closed sessions. So you can close any or part of your meeting to the public, and now this is dated, by the way. It says under Division 2 of the Freedom of Information Act, that's now changed just recently. In fact, any bylaw that refers to that, we have to change. You'll be seeing a lot of those, unfortunately. So it's Access to Information Act now. But so as long as, we talked about this before, if there's a reason and there's privacy to be protected, you can close it. Just remember, you can't pass any resolutions in a closed session. So you can work something out. You can figure out where you want to go with this. We'll use the term straw polls in closed session. Like, hey guys, when we come out of this closed session, how's everyone feeling about this? Yeah, I'm on side. Okay. All right, let's make a motion when we come out of closed session. It seems like everyone's in agreement. That's fine. But don't make a resolution except to come out of closed session. That's your only resolution you can make in closed session. Section 50. This is one we may have some more conversation on down the road, but this is about what's called Council Committee of the Whole. This is a common tool used by councils. It's essentially what the previous councils have been doing is on the first Tuesday of every month, that's CCW meeting, Council Committee of the Whole. It looks a lot like a regular council meeting. The only difference is you can't make resolutions in it. And so it's intended to be a working meeting to work through some things in a little bit, I'll call it a little bit more casual setting maybe. It's just, you can just kind of kick some things around, but you can't resolve anything in that meeting except to recommend things to council. It has its pros and its cons. I think we'll get a few under our belt and then you guys can make a decision. You're not required to have one. It's a tool you can use. But I think we should talk about it, January, February again and see if it's something you as a group like.
Just a quick mention that the deputy mayor will chair that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Correct, yeah, that's where we have the deputy chair. Thank you. Same rules of conduct and everything as a council meeting, same hours, all that stuff's the same. I just wanted to mention page 18, section 54. In the absence of a member of council, the mayor is an ex officio member of all committees, and the mayor, as such member of the committee, shall have all the powers and privileges. So if you can't get to a meeting, not that Mayor Brown wants to go to everyone's committee meetings they can't make, but in a jam, by virtue of the office, she's ex officio at committee. She can vote. She can do all those things at a committee that you would do as the assigned person there. So just keep that in mind if you're like, boy, I can't make it, I'm sick, but it's super important we have somebody there tonight because they're voting on the requisition or something and it's controversial. We really need someone there. Reach out to the mayor, as she has ex officio authority. And other than that, there's a whole bunch more that I didn't want to go through verbatim tonight, but have a chance to go through it. We talked last time, there's all kinds of procedural stuff and what motions have precedent, and it's terribly boring and mostly irrelevant. I don't mean to demean it, but you won't use it probably, unless something really goes strange. So it's there when needed, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. So that's everything for procedural bylaw I wanted to touch, Mayor.
Thank you. So moving right along, we're gonna go to 3B, so bylaw 1677. So this is the council committee bylaw. So as you've all had the opportunity to look over the committees I have assigned you to, we have essentially put this in here just so that you can go and read what your committee is. If you're on FCSS, Councillor Smith, you'll read page 3 and 5 on what your job is as that, and all the rest of them, as long as they're under the town, all the information is in there. If you have any questions, you can reach out to administration or myself. But as far as us needing to approve anything in that section, we don't need to. So we're going to go straight from there into 3C, council and CAO covenant. We'll turn that to you.
Sure. So this is, in fact, all but two of you. Sorry,
Councillor
Councillor
Court?
I have a printout of everybody's assignments.
We could, yes.
I'd like to get one.
You bet.
So council C.
On those?
Sorry, that.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's also in
definitely
here.
Yeah,
It's in the
here.
package, yeah.
Yes, I need to scroll down a little further.
No,
Council
it'd be your
CAO
assignments.
covenant is something that,
Bottom.
oh, sorry, Mayor.
Just hold on, we got lots. Councillor Smith?
It's not, you don't have the assignments in here though, do you?
It should be
So-
right near the back,
It is in there. You just,
Second page.
about third from the last page,
Oh.
Counselor.
it says what
It's
everybody's
all the way to
on.
the end.
Yeah.
Oh, got it in here.
It's not on the
Very bottom.
It's, yeah.
It's in the org meeting one. Right. The very, very bottom.
But
Go
is this,
back.
is this the assignments that we're getting?
This is all
Okay.
about you. Yep.
Okay. I can find this.
Flip
All
the
right.
page.
Continue.
We're so
Thank you.
close.
Councillor
There
Wyman,
it is.
did
There
you
you
Yeah,
go,
need-
I
Counselor.
saw it.
Yeah, and we'll go
Everyone good?
through that more thoroughly here
Yeah.
in just a minute
Yeah.
too.
Go ahead.
So council CAO covenant is not a mandatory document. It's something that the town has done, I don't know, 15 years now maybe or so. So all of you but Councillor Smith and Winder have signed one before. So what it is, it's a document that essentially says, it's talking about our relationship, council and me. And it's saying, okay, as council, here's how we're going to relate to you as a CAO. And it's saying, as a CAO, here's how I'm going to relate to council. I think it's a good document. I think it's a good thing. It's not something that is enforceable. If you're offside of it, I can't just throw it in your face and say, see, you agreed once. But it is just a good document to say, hey, I'm not going to speak ill of you guys. I wouldn't anyway, but the document's saying, I'm not going to speak ill of you in the public, for example. I'm going to make sure I don't surprise you with anything. I'm going to make sure that as far as I can do, that no one's going to show up and you're going to be surprised by something important. You're saying the same thing. We're going to respect the boundaries, and that's how we're going to work together. So I would like to be able to pass this around for signature this meeting. I do support signing it.
Yep.
And I think it's been a good document for us that we can refer to just from time to time to remember the roles. And so if there's no strong objections to that, I'll get one ready by our little break and we'll pass it around for signature.
Perfect.
But
Sounds
Hit
good.
me up on anything you're curious about on that too.
Good. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to number 4, library bylaw. So this one, in effect, Councillor Court is the new councillor that will sit on that board. And so I actually need a motion on this one for Councillor Court.
Mayor, can I just explain something
Go
really
ahead.
quick for background?
For sure.
The reason we're dealing with this one separate is the library has its own act. They operate under the Libraries Act. And the Libraries Act, I have a number of opinions on it, but that's for another day, has very specific requirements on how people are appointed. We can't just appoint them as part of our overall committee assignments, for example. They need it very, very specific in an org meeting, so this is why this one is kind of separate from the other ones you'll be doing.
So So this, go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, I'll move that Counselor Court be appointed to the Town of Cardston Library Board for a term expiring, do you want that date?
Yeah.
Please, yes.
September 30th, 2026. And that Blaine Hogg and Deborah Kuhn be appointed for a term ending December 31st, 2028.
All in favor? Thank you. Perfect. All right, moving right along. So, deputy mayor assignments. So, that one has you all listed. So, deputy mayor, like Councillor Court brought up earlier. So that would mean during. So let's talk about Councillor Court. So we do this according to the alphabet. So Councillor Winder's killing it. He's at the very end. Councillor Court. So he starts as of today, and he will go till June 27th, 2026. So everyone is for 8 months, which is great. So what that means is, if in fact I can't go to something, or I can't sign the checks, or I can't do whatever it is, then Councillor Court steps in my place. And that would go to all of you when the time comes. And like Councillor Court had brought up earlier, for CCW, that meeting you will be chairing. So once a month for those 8 months, the first Tuesday of the month, which is CCW, will be you're up. And it's fantastic. It's really good because it gets us used to leading, as uncomfortable or comfortable as you may be with it. All right, so that is deputy. Does anyone have any questions in regards to deputy mayor assignments? No? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move along.
You want a motion on that?
Yes, so can I have a motion to approve the deputy mayor assignments? Councillor Johnson?
I'll make that motion that we approve the deputy mayor assignment schedule as presented.
Thank you. All in favor? Good. Okay, so same goes for the committee assignments. So they're all there. I don't know if y'all have had time to look at them. We worked really hard to balance everyone's, try and get some of the ones that you requested. Of course, I was unable to get you all the ones you requested because some of you requested the same ones. But I need a motion to approve the committee assignments, please. Councillor Selk?
Make a motion to approve the committee assignments as outlined.
Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Go.
Yeah, I like your pace, Council.
All right, meeting dates and times. So we're going to go to 7A. So Council Committee of the Whole. So essentially, I just need y'all to take a look at that. So we've got the dates up there.
Now, Mayor, if I might.
Go ahead.
So we're just making sure that for CCW and council meeting, as we talked in the bylaw, that those times, at least for the near future, are what work for you. Is there any reason we would need to dramatically change regular meeting times? You can do this at any time, by the way, too. You get 6 months down the road and it's not working, you can have that discussion. But for today, does the first, second, and fourth Tuesdays at 5 o'clock essentially is what it is? Does that still work for everyone?
I'll just say at least one of those meetings I will be at work, and I usually zoom in. So
And I'll cover
typically
it for you.
I am sometimes away at work for one of the meetings.
Yep.
So
That's not a problem.
it's just my rotations the way it is.
It's just
It worked
not a
last.
problem. Yeah.
It was like once every 8 weeks. I was.
And just a thought that we can talk 4 months down the road on. Some councils have gone to Monday now instead of Tuesday, because there's a lot of church stuff going on Tuesdays and stuff like that. So that's something we can think about. We don't need to deal with it right now.
Okay.
So the Historical Society one said they meet on the 4th Tuesday.
So yes. Aren't they the 3rd? They're the 4th?
Is that you right now?
No.
No, it's Councillor Granger.
It
They just
never is
met.
It's never at the same time as our council meetings.
They're not on Tuesdays.
No,
That's not
that's not
correct
right.
anymore. They changed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say they're Thursdays.
Yeah. I don't know what they are, but they're not
I'll
a
check that
Tuesday.
out.
Unless I'm
Council.
reading that wrong, but that's
No, I don't. No, you've got that right, but I believe it's Thursdays. I'll check it out.
okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Selk?
Just when we're at what do you call it, Alberta Muni?
Yeah.
We have committee assignments here, and I don't know what those.
So, I mean, that typically happens, and we just let them know we're at the Alberta Munis conference, and sometimes they'll change the date, like the emergency service meeting or emergency service one that we were on. They actually bumped it to the next week.
Right.
So I think some of the committees will do that
Yeah, like Chief Mountain Solid Waste is on
same time.
same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But we'll all be there, right? Like,
All the
they'll
urban
move
will be gone.
yeah. So I would think they would just move those meetings.
do we know who's, like, if I wanted to talk to somebody at Chief Mountain Solid Waste and say, hey, you're aware of this, right?
It's Marion right now.
It's Marianne?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
I'm guessing she knows.
Yeah.
I'm sure she knows.
Yeah.
We can tell her we'll be talking about garbage at, Alberta Muni, but, okay.
Perfect. So in that, can I have, no. Moving on, so we will go to 7B, so regular council meetings. Is everyone okay, like we just said? So essentially, it's Tuesdays. It's the second and fourth Tuesdays, so the third Tuesdays, go ahead and book whatever your little heart desires. Don't typically have anything that week. And going to 7C, so meeting changes or cancellations. So this one, we've got the list here. So what happens is, prime example, and I actually brought this up to Jeff earlier, we have days that, like Remembrance Day, clearly we're not going to have a council meeting on Remembrance Day. So that will be a meeting that we will go ahead and not have. And the list of those that we don't have for reasons. Now, that being said, I was looking at the cancellation of the December,
CCW.
yeah, the CCW meeting that we're canceling. That one is the only one that I'm ish on because of, it'll depend on where we're at with the budget, but we still won't have a CCW. We would just have a regular meeting of council on that day. And if we need it, then we'll have it. So we can go ahead with our motion to make the cancellation. So can I have a motion to approve the dates which have been set? Councillor Court, go ahead.
The motion that we approve the dates that are outlined. Do you want me to read each date?
Yes, please.
November 11th, 2025, December 2nd, 2025, December 23rd, 2025, January 6th, 2026, July 7th, 2026, July 28th, 2026, August 4th, 2026, and August 25th, 2026. And those are interspersed with CCW, so.
Yeah. Any questions?
Now, just to clarify, you're moving to cancel those.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
No questions? All in favor? Thank
Sorry,
you.
I look like I voted
So
there.
the
I was not voting.
the first Tuesday is the council committee of the whole.
Yes.
That's right.
And then the second and fourth are the
Actual meetings.
actual council.
You have to
Okay,
pass
all right.
motions in that.
Okay,
That's exactly right.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I speak to
Go
something?
ahead.
I forgot to mention, especially to the new counselors, and this is a great topic for it. When you get an agenda, most of your items have what's called a Town of Carson request for decision form in front of them. And I forgot to mention that. It is best practice that we have that in front of every item because it's there to give you a summary of the issue and the administrative recommendation. So what you saw in this, Shem did this one, and it was like, here's what we've done historically, here's what the MGA says about canceling meetings, here's what the response and implications are, and here's what we're requesting for action. So look for those when you get your agendas. I try and have them on anything that I'm looking for action from the council on. Some things we're just talking about to kind of move the goalposts a little further, but we don't need to conclude at that meeting. And I may not have that, but please do have, if you can't read the whole package from meeting to meeting, I would ask if you can at least skim through the RFDs and then you at least know the context of the discussion. And I forgot to even mention what those are, and we've already gone through a couple, so sorry about that.
And I think it's also important that it's not administration telling us what to say if we don't want to say that. If we don't want to say that, then we will figure out what it is we want to say. But that's their Go ahead.
No, finish off and then
No,
I'll
that's
add to
that's
that.
their opinion, and council will decide
Yep.
what we choose.
So I 100% agree with that. You'll even see some of my RFDs that will say,
Yeah.
as this is a very political situation, administration has no opinion.
Yeah.
And I will say that often to say this is purely political. We have no
Absolutely.
position on this, whatever council sees fit. And so you are never obligated to say, well, Jeff wanted this motion, so that's, no, please, I would ask you,
Yeah.
don't do that by
Agreed.
default.
And I think it's
Please,
important.
Please push back on that and weigh the political side of it.
Okay, so moving right along, number 8, calendar of upcoming events. So this is just so you're aware. So Remembrance Day, typically we do have council there. We'd appreciate you coming. That's November 11th. Do we have the time?
I'll get the program soon. I don't have it.
B, we've got Alberta Municipalities Conference. That's November 12th to the 14th. I hear almost everyone's coming, so I thank you for that. C, full day council orientation. That's November 4th, unless you're Councillor Winder and you knocked it all out yesterday. That just
job.
sounds like so much fun. D, community awareness evening. Again, councillors are welcome to come to this. It is essentially an evening where we have tables from all of the FCSS program funding, plus a lot of others come and have tables. It's just getting our programming out to communities, and the town will have a table. And it's nice to have us there because I don't want to say you shake hands and kiss babies, but you kind of do, and you get your face out there. This is who I am. This is what we do. Christmas staff party. You will get an email here in a bit, and they will give you certain dates, and then you'll approve if it works for you, because some of us are going to have our other work parties, and we just try and work around it for the staff and everybody. We just come and get to be a part of it, but it's mostly for the staff, as it should be. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Kenley, all in favor? All right, so that one is done. So now I would like to call to order the agenda for Cardston Town Council meeting held this day, the 28th day of October, 2025. I would like to do the land acknowledgement. The town of Cardston acknowledges that we are located on traditional Blackfoot Confederacy territory. Now, are there any additions and adoption of the agenda we will have? Any additions? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor Silk?
I'll move that we adopt the agenda as outlined.
Awesome. All in favor? Sorry, that was... I gotta work on that. Okay. There is no delegation, so we will move through this. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Adoption of the minutes.
I guess one of us can do
Likely
it.
someone
Let's
was
go,
there.
Councillor
Well,
Winder.
I'll
Mayor,
motion.
if I might,
Sorry.
he wasn't there.
Oh, so
Oh,
he
okay,
can't.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
Right.
Hang on
But we
till the
love
next
his
one,
excitement,
Counselor.
though.
Yeah.
We're gonna give it to
Yeah,
him.
and I
Okay.
fully appreciate that. It'd probably be
But you're
appropriate
right.
if it was one of the incumbents.
Okay, Councillor Kenley.
Yeah,
Can I have a
Next one,
motion?
though.
I'll move the minutes of
Oh, I'm
October
down.
14th, 2025.
That was it. Good.
Never again.
Questions other than Councillor Winders? All in favor? Thank you. All right, bylaw and policy. Policy review. So this is 5A. So this is council's remuneration. Yeah, killed it.
Never say that word.
I know. I underlined the M because the struggle is real. And we'll turn that over to Jeff. Thank you.
Talking to the mayor, the first order of business is gonna be to change it to council compensation.
Please get
So
rid
that
of
we
that
never-
word.
We never have to use
Please.
the word remuneration
Right.
again.
Ever.
Favor.
I just wanted to go over your compensation policy with you so you know how you get compensated. Because that's an important component of being a counselor. You spend a ton of time and you deserve to be compensated for that time. So this is a relatively newly amended policy, and what it does is it does put the onus on you as counselors to ensure that you're submitting your per diems for your meetings. Now, I haven't talked to Jill about this, so this is news to her, but bear with me, Jill. Basically what the policy says is you submit for every meeting you attend. My feeling is we know when you're at council meetings or not. I wouldn't worry about you submitting for council meetings. We're here with you.
Okay.
We know. but I don't know if you go to Chief Mountain Solid Waste. I don't know if you go to the library. I have no idea. So let me go through the policy real quick and we'll just talk about a couple of points. Let's see what I have here. So,
Is this
Counselor.
policy on my computer somewhere? I
yeah,
can't-
it should be the second.
But how do I pull it up?
Are you on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should just be 5.
Little thing on the right.
On the right here,
Go
okay.
down.
I got you.
Down, down,
Okay.
There you go.
I'm gonna go through this actually with you today. It's just a little bit later
It's
than.
all good.
Yeah. And then we'll get all your computers here and we'll go get on the same page.
Yeah.
So yes, it'll be a little awkward for a bit here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so,
Go down. That one.
just looking at 3 guidelines in compensation. So compensation will be paid according with Schedule A. Elected officials will not be compensated for attendance or costs associated with meetings or events less than 1 hour, meeting or events or parades which they were not assigned or authorized to attend, missed council meetings, committee meetings, or parades, and attendance at events with a primary political purpose. So those are the 4 exceptions to your compensation. Really just trying to avoid showing up to everything because there's compensation, even if you're not assigned to it.
Can you elaborate on that last point?
Yeah, so if you are attending the PC or the conservative riding fundraiser, you are not to be paid as a counselor. There is a conflict there, right? That it's an optics piece. And so you're welcome to attend them.
Yeah.
Like you're welcome to support whatever political party you wish to, but don't do it as your role as counselor and be compensated for it.
Or a simple one would be for Counselor Winder, you being a teacher, you're going to go to an assembly at the junior high. You're there as a teacher. You're getting paid as a teacher. You're not double dipping as unless we need you to represent us there, then you're going to double dip that day. But
Which
that
will
would be
made by motion.
pardon, and it would be made by motion. Go
So-
ahead.
So then for November 11th, for example, that you
Yes.
issued, anybody who wants to go can go. So is that something that's billable?
So that's a great question. So yes, it would be billable
Or
for the Remembrance Day.
Or anything like that?
I'm
that's-
just saying,
That's-
if council approved it and the request is that you come,
And how about training?
and yes, training it absolutely is because the government asked us to do it. So for your full day, you absolutely would
And
do
your
it.
munis.
And for and when we go to Alberta Munis conference, yes, we get the daily rate.
And I've got forms here that I'm gonna go over with you now.
Yeah, that was my
Um,
next question.
It is a little bit unique.
Yeah.
I was just talking to the mayor about this before the meeting, where we've never had to do orientation prior to swearing in before. So that was unique. You're the first group of counselors that have ever had to do that. And so the question was, okay, they're not officially a counselor, but they're here on mandatory council business. Is it appropriate to compensate for that? Our determination was yes, it is appropriate to compensate for that. And so the rates have changed. So even for you incumbents, there's new forms with the new rates. So make sure you get some of those from me. So what'll happen is downstairs by your mailboxes, and we'll probably also put some in your drawers, there's just a form. And it goes through and says, okay, here's the date and what it was, and give it to me, give it to Jill, give it to Hannah in the office. It doesn't matter, just get it to one of us. And that's how we'll know where you've been. We are also looking at newer forms. We did this real quick for tonight. We may look at, now that we know your committee assignments, we may just have a form for you in your desk that maybe you decide the second meeting of every month or the 4th week of every Tuesday, you just go through that, check here. Here's my committees I went to, and here's some other meetings I attended, and I was asked to go to this, and I went to this, and then we take care of it every month.
And is it the end of the month that we submit that? The
You
end of
can
the
submit it
month?
whenever you want. We would just ask by policy that you do it within the fiscal year that the charge was incurred. So please don't wait 4 years and then give me a sheet. And it's happened, by the way. So I would ask that you do it within the fiscal year. And actually, Jill, I think you've been really good. Like we've emailed councils, kind of mid-December and said, hey, anybody that hasn't submitted for anything, please get it into us in the next week so that we have it for the fiscal year. Because we have had, here's 3 years worth of per diems, if you can please cut me a check.
So,
Counselor, go ahead.
so being, like I said, very new.
Yep.
So if I go to a Cardston District Historical meeting
Yep.
for an hour,
Yep.
I do something,
Correct.
I do one for that.
So one,
Okay.
yep,
Each
that's
one
right.
of your committee assignments that you've been given, you will sign out a
Okay.
form for. And that's why I do think it's a fantastic idea to have it all in one. I really like that idea because it's irritating to me to have to hand in, you know, if I have 10 committee meetings, I'm handing in 10 forms.
Well, one other thing we're looking to do is we're gonna build a submission form on the website that you guys log into, that you can just go on and say, went to,
Yeah.
you know, Chinook Arch tonight. I drove, so I had mileage and I, you know, this, and just submitted emails directly to Joe. So you don't even have to hand me in a sheet.
So, Counselor, just give me a second. So, onto that, I would also say, so if some of you will have out of town, you have out of town committee meetings. If you have out of town, we would prefer if you take the town's car so that we're not having to pay your mileage. If in fact the town's car is somewhere else, then of course we'll pay the mileage. But it's better for our taxpayers if you use the town car. Counselor Court.
Yeah, just as an aside, I'm choking a little bit on Remembrance Day.
Oh, okay.
You know, that kind of bothers me
Okay.
because that's Remembrance Day. We should be there anyhow. And
Agreed.
number two, we want as council,
Yep.
of course. Number two, we did have something in place for critical illness and surgeries when people couldn't make it to the.
Correct.
Yeah, we
Is
did.
that still in there?
So there's still compassionate leave, piece and illness. Well, compassionate leave and sick leave, yes, within that. So if you can't get to some, we'll work that out at the time. Yeah, for sure. So back to, so we talked about the things that aren't eligible. Again, if you travel, if you have food, just keep your receipts, submit all that with your vouchers, and we'll compensate you for all those things. We use the CRA rate for mileage. Like Mayor Brown said, if you need to take your vehicle, it's perfectly fine. Just log your mileage. Worst case is we Google map it. You left from here, you went to what hotel? Great. Now we know your mileage. That's fine too. So keep a hold of that. You will be assigned things like parades, and you're compensated for those. We'll get a list of those we're invited to, but that's actually, we got to deal with the Santa Claus parade next meeting, but then after that we got a gap. We don't have to deal with any till next summer.
Hey, it's lots of fun to go to parades.
Yeah. Just checking if there's anything else here. So on the Schedule A, which is page 4 of the policy, basically it's here's you get $265 per council meeting, and then you have a less than 4 hour and a greater than 4 hour rate for your meetings, and that includes the travel. So for example, when we go to Calgary to AB Munis, you're going to travel 3 hours to get to the conference. That's a half day that day. The next day's a full day. The day after that's a full day. Friday's half conference and 3 hours travel. That's another full day. Okay, so your time includes the time it takes to get to that thing.
Unless you get mileage.
Is that new?
So
Cool.
no, that's how it's been. Yeah, you've been undercharging, Councilor.
Is-
I just never.
Which is-
It's whatever. I don't care. But
Yeah.
you know, we're not doing this for the money. I just never noticed it. Right?
Inclusive
Which
of
is
your
why Jeff, we talked about this earlier, and he really felt it was really important because we felt like a couple of weeks ago when we brought this up, some of the counselors were hearing it for the first time. So we thought we'd hit y'all with it right away.
And again, we're not doing this for the money. It's just
Yeah.
No, but your time is worth something.
You incur a lot of costs. When we go to Edmonton to Alberta Munis, for example, you have a full day per diem just to travel there because you're 6 hours away.
So that's
So-
4 days then for the Muni.
Yeah, for the
plus
conference.
mileage.
Yeah, that's right.
Counselor,
So,
you good?
I was just going to mention little things like when you travel, even when we go to AB Munis, you may be asked to put your credit card down for incidentals on the room. I'll pay for everything, but they may get your credit card. If you have legitimate charges to it, just give me the receipt. Just let me know. Fill out a sheet under the expenses side. Hey, I had a meal. I had room service to the room. The town has never had hard lines into saying you get a per diem of $25 per dinner, and we've never done that. We've just said be reasonable. You know, if you start sliding me the most expensive thing, you got tomahawk steaks every meal room order, I'm gonna be like, guys, come on, let's talk about that. But yeah, and you know what? I've been here quite a while, and I have never seen that abused. So just please, just be reasonable with it. Have a good dinner. Have a nice lunch.
McDonald's.
Counselor
Yeah, that's right.
Just
The most expensive thing in
Spouses with
McDonald's.
you. Your spouse is with you, just half it.
Yeah.
So we don't pay for our spouse, we just pay
Yeah.
for
Oh,
ourselves.
okay.
So
Yeah.
if it's $50 and hers is 25, we
Yeah.
submit 25.
But things like, again, I'll use this conference because it's coming up. If you want your spouse to come with you, and by the way, I do want to get an inventory of that. They don't need to pay for half the room. We had to get you a room anyway.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They're usually always based on double occupancy anyway, and it doesn't change the rates. So yeah, by all means, like if they want to come and hang out in Calgary for a couple days, and the one thing, Mayor, if I can go off on a bit of a sidebar here, the Wednesday night when we go up there, it's nice. We found it very nice that we all go to dinner together and bring spouses if they're with you. It just lets everyone kind of get to know each other on a more casual side. And so I will get some numbers from you even at the next meeting, just about who might have their spouse coming with them, and we'll make sure we reserve space for spouses as well, or partners as well. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, please don't think you have to split the hotel room if you bring a partner with you.
She sleeps in the
Sure.
hallway.
Yeah, that's right. Or get a cot and she's got to pay the cot charge. I don't know. It's up to you. So that's really, we've simplified this quite a bit from the last one. Joshua did a ton of work on this over the last 6 months. How many, it was donation policy. I was thinking, how many times in a row was this on the agenda? It was a lot. So if there's any questions on this, please come and see me.
Counselor Kenley.
I was just gonna add, for those that are still working, I know Kent and Ron, anyway, Jan,
Part-time.
make sure you get your like deductions in order, because they do deduct things like from your check, and I didn't really have, my first few years, I was like, for the first time, I was like owing taxes come tax time. I was like, what is going on? Anyways, I wasn't being deducted enough here, and so it was like putting me over, and just get it worked out, so you're not like surprised.
You got to make Counselor Kenley kind of money for that to be an
Yeah.
issue.
Whatever.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to
Move on.
5B,
Just
because
kidding,
we're
Counselor.
starting to veer a little here. Come on back.
Mayor, can I just speak?
Oh, sorry.
Since I was a teacher and on council. Now, I don't know how they do it now, but I wasn't paid to teach those days because I wasn't there. But you say you got a couple of days you can take that they cover. So basically what happened was that the council money covered my teacher's pay.
Yeah.
So, now again, I don't know how they do it now. It's been a while since I've been teachers.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
5B, we're gonna head right on into budget. So essentially, this is gonna be a budget 101, learning about how to read it. He's not gonna scare us. He kills a lot of trees with
Yeah.
us.
I will tell you, and the other councilors.
Can I
can
ask
speak
you
to
something
this.
while he's passing this
Get
down?
content with
So you're on
photo
camera,
docs.
but yes.
It's just, will our committees contact us about meeting times, or should we be contacting them? That
So-
we're,
So here's what I can tell you. It goes both ways. So just today, the town got an email from one that I'm sitting on, and they of course don't know that I've been assigned to it, and so they've then forwarded it to me. So that's what'll happen is they get it, but I would also have you look into it. So it'll say on there if you have any questions,
out of this.
on the boards you're on, like
So I wanna
Blood
return
Tribe,
back to
you're
the-
on it with me.
Yeah.
I will let you know when
Yeah.
the meetings are,
the
and
agenda.
then we'll
I'm
go.
stuck
The
with
rest of
enumeration
them
policy.
are pretty consistent as far as regular days. Blood Tribe's not though.
is there a name on each one? of your
Administration will
Okay.
have it.
Okay.
Administration will have it.
Mayor, on that, we've already been contacted by many of the
Yeah,
committees saying,
okay.
after your org meeting, send us the information
Perfect.
for your assigned council.
Okay,
So
there
we
you
have
go.
quite a few of those already.
I didn't mean to
No,
take us
you're
off.
all
good, you're
good.
good. No, it's important. Okay. Jeff, go ahead.
Okay, council, this, what you have in front of you are the working documents we use for the budget. Tonight, this is, by the way, not balanced, not completed, nowhere near where it needs to be. Councilor Winder, you should have 4 different documents, actually. Maybe you got doubled up on?
Maybe.
Okay. But what I just wanted to do today is to let you guys take these home, start to chew them up a little bit, come up with questions, look them over. But again, let me say again, this is not intended to present you any type of balanced budget. We're still working through some major components of this, but I wanted to show you how we're doing budget, because even for Councillor Selk, it's a little bit different than when you were here. We've broken it into, well, there's 4 budget documents. There's what we call our administration budget, our utilities budget, our electrical budget, and then the capital budget. So the first 3 are all operational stuff, and then we have the 5-year capital. So we are required to have a 3-year operating and 5-year capital.
Only got 3 documents.
Which one are you
So
missing?
you got the utilities, electrical, and
These two are the
tax.
same.
And then utilities, you're just missing that one. It's
Oh.
just hiding behind it.
Okay, sorry.
See a little one.
I don't have this one, and I need that one. Okay, now I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I can add it.
So let's start with the one with the green on the left-hand side. So it's the thickest one. Essentially, this is everything but utilities and electrical. That's really what it is. The reason we split those other two out is not because they sit separately than anything else financially, but they are operational arms of the town that we do like to look at a little bit differently and to see how they're doing on their own. Let's put it that way. And what they need from tax money to survive, or what they're contributing into taxes to help the town. So this green one is the biggest one by far. On the very left-hand side of the document is a bunch of 6-digit numbers, 1-01-110. These are the general ledger numbers of all of those accounts. So sometimes you'll hear us say, well, we'll take that funding from GL number 1-43-410, something like that. We're not trying to be complicated. It's just internally where we assign all the money. The next column is simply the name of that GL. We have discretion over that name. We've changed names over time, but that's what we call it. And then 2025 is what was approved last year, and then we're looking at the next 3 years of operations. Now, one of the most, and it's not something I like, and it's confusing, but we'll all get our heads around it together. 1- accounts, all the 1-1, 2, whatever, anything that's starting with a 1 is a revenue account. It's the money we bring in. So the accountants in the room, I can just see Councillor Johnson saying, then why are they all in brackets? Because that means negative in accounting point of view. And you're 100% right, and that's because that's how it inputs into our system when we're done with it. So please disregard that numerically they look like negative numbers. But any of the 1- accounts are income accounts. So taxes, gas franchise, penalties, return on investment, those types of things. So this is where how all the money comes into the operation. So we will have roughly $8.4 million worth of revenue. Now again, not balanced, please. And that can come from taxes. It can come from utility revenues. It can come from transfers from other levels of government, so provincial and federal grants. We take in money from them. And then everything else you see here on the wall, that's where all of our money comes from. So when you look at that, we'll walk you through any major changes, anything that looks to be materially different than years past. I would ask you not to get too down in the weeds on, well, why is, how much are we spending on paper? It's like, from the governance level of council, I would ask you to stay a little higher level, look at it from 10,000 feet. Please don't ignore things that look incorrect or odd, like please ask. You're here to be the oversight body. That's your role. You're here to make sure that administration is managing these funds appropriately. We also are audited every year. So every year we have a third-party auditor that comes in, looks at all of our practices and reports back to you as council, whether we're managing that appropriately. So you are here as an oversight body, and please exercise that. Let's just not argue about whether or not we got the best deal on Staples or not, okay? So that's all I would ask. I mean, we're gonna try, but let's not make that a big part of the conversation. So you have all these 1- accounts that are all revenue. If you flip over the page, just page 2, at the bottom of the page, you see a line that says total sources of operating funds. And in 2025, it was 10.13 million. And we're projecting it somewhere in the 8s the next 3 years. And then right after that is all the 2- accounts, 2-01-740. This is now, the rest of this document is expenses.
Okay.
So it's until we get into some capital, but I'll get into that in a minute. So all the rest of the operational stuff here is how we're spending all of that money. So please take a chance to go through and get a bit familiar with, it's kind of in categories. So legislative, administrative, then it'll get into protective services, parks and recreation, etc. So please start going through. have a look at those things, ask questions about everything, and really go through this. So generally when we start building a budget, and this is what we'll talk about next meeting, is I'll generally sit with you and say, how much additional revenue are we looking to generate this year? What are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable in your first year as elected officials saying, let's go have an 8% tax increase? My guess is you're not, and I understand that completely. But that's the kind of back and forth we'll do, because I'll always take a little extra to do more stuff. But I also don't come with great big, I mean, I don't know if we've ever run into that for you incumbents. We usually try and come to you with something pretty tight right off the start. So I don't come with millions of dollars unfunded. We try and prioritize administratively and say, what do we need? How can we justify it to council? The other thing we'll bring you is, let's say, for example, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth at all, but let's say you say to me, look, we don't want any more than a 3% tax revenue increase this year. Okay, fair enough. We have to go to work and try and build a budget around 3%. But that can be made up of a number of things. It can be made up of additional new assessment in the community, new stuff that we tax. So that's not going to be on the backs of existing residents. That's on the backs of new improvements in the community. And that's a good thing, because it means if we can get 1.5% of it from new stuff, we only have to increase all the existing properties by 1.5%. And so even with this last term council, we had some years where most of the increase was covered by new assessment.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do much on the existing assessment, which was great. That was a huge help. We'll also look at what happens to assessment in the community. So whether you like this or not, Councillor Smith, your home may go up by, it might be assessed 20 grand more next year than it was this year, right? And so if you're in the selling market, that's cool. But if you're not in the selling market, that just means you're going to get taxed on a higher amount now. So council will bring you documents to look at that too and say, look, assessment was really high. We may want to bring the tax rate down so that it doesn't impact everybody that amount. Like, we'll have all of those discussions as we get closer to it. Your budget is done kind of in, well, not kind of, it's done in two parts. Between now and the end of December, we're going to try and get something that you are satisfied with that we can pass so that January 1 we can spend money. On the other hand, we don't know a whole bunch of really important things by December 31st. So in April, you do what we call the mill rate budget. Before you set your tax rate, we look at everything again, because now we know how much does the province want for school requisitions? How much did assessment change in the community? How much is policing costs? We know all this stuff by April before we set the tax rates. So we have another really good look at it again in April. And I will come back to this a number of times, especially as you're new. At any time, you as council can change anything in the budget at all. You do not have constraints around what you can or can't do. Does it throw us administratively for a loop if you make large decisions in the middle of a budget year? Absolutely. But we'll smile and make it work for you if that's what council wants to do. But we would ask that December 31st, let's feel really comfortable with it. End of April before tax rates, let's feel really comfortable with it. And there's always going to be little things along the way that we have to tweak by resolution of council. And that's okay. We're not that good that we predict everything that might come along in a whole year fiscally. We're just not. But we get really, really close. We've done pretty good on budgeting by and large. At the end of the year, we've asked the auditor in our audit, it's unique to ours, I've asked them to put a schedule in that shows everyone, because it's in our audited financial statements, how we did compared to budget. How much were we under and where did that come from? And so we'll talk about that a year from now. We'll talk about it when will we audit? March, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in March when we do the 2025 audit. And so that'll be good. So again, back to the budget, have a look at everything. We do try and project out 3 years. That does not mean that you are constricted to everything in these 3 years. It just means that we are trying to look forward. We're trying to project what's coming up. This is particularly difficult in capital, but I'll talk about that in a minute. And we try and do what we can there. So again, cruising all through this. One of the things I just want to mention to you, because if you run into it and you're not familiar, it will cause you some grief. Hold on, I wonder what go too far. Okay, so on page 11, on the very bottom of the page, there's a category called reserves. The GL number is 294762. So this is everything, so again, page 11, 294762. This is everything in the budget that we are looking to transfer to reserves. Our reserves is our savings account. It's what we're saving for something in particular in the future. We don't have what I would call undesignated reserves. There's not just a slush fund, for lack of a better term. This is, we need a fire truck in 5 years. We need to put $65,000 a year away. And so that's what you're taxing for. We need to do this in 10 years, and we're putting this much away. So these are very much designated reserves. So that account 294762, we haven't done them for 2026 yet, but to give you an idea, in 2025, there was some general, by the way, we use that to balance the budget. But there was some cemeteries, some land sales, offsite levies, library, major utility capital. Those are things that you taxed for, and we moved them into savings. So then when you turn the page over into page 13, actually it starts on page 12, and this is in capital, by the way. We're into things that are bigger. At the bottom of page 12, you have an account 195592, and it says from reserves to capital. That's where we're taking the money we were saving for that thing and bringing it into the budget to spend. So we haven't done much of that for the next 3 years yet, but that's when we're saying, okay, you know how we were saving to replace the bleachers? Well, now's the year we're doing it. So we're going to take the 10 grand out of recreation reserves and we're going to buy the bleachers. And that's how we fund a whole bunch of the capital. And I won't go through all that. You can see it's a long list and have a look at that. 2026, we're looking to do truck replacement, a tractor, mechanical upgrades at the ice rink, some stuff at the golf course. So just have a look at that. I just wanted you, when you saw that, what does that mean? When it's going to reserves, it's going into savings. When it's coming from reserves, it's going to spend on that thing we were saving for. That's the very short answer on that one. And then the rest of this first document is it's capital planning, but we'll get into that actually another time. I don't want to delve into that too much right now because it's not ready. It's not where it needs to be. So that is the tax budget. So everything but utilities and electrical. Mayor Brown, Councilor Smith.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Is there a breakdown? Have you done the breakdown like for the FCSS grant?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's different programs under that. So is there a breakdown for those?
At the committee level, there is.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're the managing partner for FCSS. That's a great, I'll get into that just a little bit. So there is the two villages, the county and the town. And we manage the funds for the committee, but you as a council don't have discretion over what they fund. So we manage it. Our staff are the managing administrative help. I'm the, what do we call that? There's a word for what I am to it, but anyway, unit authority, thank you. So the town is the unit authority, and that's actually under definition, I think it's council and me are the unit authority. But we don't get into the breakdown of how much. We just put the wholesale numbers through.
Oh, okay. But what I can tell you on that is that in your next meeting that you will meet, there's a fall intake and a spring intake. And so people will go ahead and decide what they want for their programs. They will come to you as you will just be one vote around the table of everyone else that's there. And they will pitch it to you. Mm-hmm. And you as the committee will then decide who gets what and how much they get. And it's not us, but you represent us. That's how that works.
Yeah, because I know that will come up, right?
Yeah, and they will give you a breakdown. They will give you a breakdown of exactly last year, this Joe Blow got this much money, and they'll go through all of that. Okay. Yeah, all of that for you. And go ahead.
No, please.
No, and the thing I also love about the FCSS is the year that we have the election, FCSS they have their conference every year, but the year of the election, they have really good training at their conferences. And so typically the counselor that gets assigned to that committee would then go to the conference and be trained. And it gives you all of that information. It's really, really good. Go ahead, Jeff.
That's really all I wanted to go over on that green. Oh,
Counselor
Court.
Court?
Worth mentioning that if it doesn't get spent in 2025, it carries over to 2026. So that money doesn't just disappear. For example, they got $90,000 for a footbridge. It's not gonna disappear out of the budget because we never built it this year. Transfers over.
And what we try and do, council, is if there are things that don't get fully completed or prices changed or whatever it is, we try not to tack, or even we come under budget. Snow removal is a great example. So let's say we come under budget. We budget 100 grand, I don't know exactly, but, and we come in at 60. We don't try and tax another 100 grand the next year. We try and move the 40 forward because you already taxed for it, and then only tax for the 60. So top it up, right? So that's, at the end of the year, when we do our financial year end, I come back to you with a list and say, here were categories where we were under budget. What do you want to do with that surplus? How do we want to manage that? Do we want to move it forward? Do we want to put it in reserves? What do you want to do? So we'll have that discussion as well as we get closer to the end of the year. So let's move to the orange stripe one, not the smaller, the 11 by 17 orange. I realize we also have an 8.5 by 11 orange, but the 11 by 17 orange. This is the utilities budget. Essentially, it's just breaking out water and wastewater and garbage and recycling. And the reason we do this is it's been a good opportunity for us to look at how that department kind of, what costs it needs, what tax help it needs, are its rates structured right, that kind of stuff. So again, same principles apply. 1 dash numbers are income, 2 dash numbers expenses. There's just a couple of things. One of the things that, and we'll talk about this actually a little bit later in the meeting, the very first line on this, on domestic water billing, we've got to have a really hard look at our 2026 numbers because with Moses Lake no longer on our water, that's a big revenue chunk. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to do an analysis of how that should come down. We should expect lower revenues, but we should also expect treatment costs to go down. So we're going to have a look at that a little closer as we come into budget. Utilities, and I'm sorry, Mayor, I want to poke over to Jill again, because do you know where we're at in the cycle of the utility rate bylaw? How many years it has left?
Through 27.
Okay.
Garbage for 26.
Okay. So council sets utility rates, water and sewer, we'll say, by bylaw. And we do it in a 3-year cycle usually. But again, it's your bylaw. You can do it on whatever cycle you want. But generally, it's 3 years. When we look at that, we do try and have a bit of a pricing philosophy in utility rates. One of them is how much can we remove the burden of general taxation from water and sewer? So how much can they hold their own? And 2, are we getting appropriate contributions from our non-taxable entities in the community? So all the institutions that are here and use the services but aren't taxable, churches, schools, hospitals, etc., they pay utilities. So you want to minimize the tax subsidy into utilities so that they're not subsidizing the institutions and getting some revenue out of the institutions. And we'll talk lots about that when the next cycle of utility rates comes up. But council does look at that quite strongly. The previous council was, I would say, a little more aggressive than I've seen in the past on having our institutional properties paying a higher utility rate. You will have lots of debate about where you want to sit on that as a council, but that was the previous council was, I would say, much more aggressive in gas tax franchise and utility rates for our institutions, trying to make sure that we're getting revenue out of them for the services they use in the community and not tax subsidizing it. So this helps with that. And I just wanted to mention, just for interest, if you go down to in the uses of operating funds, so halfway down the first page, I know it says page 18 because it goes on the back of the last one, but for example, we break out like wages and benefits, 241,100 and 241,130. And we attempt to collect all of that within that utility rate. So we want our rate to collect all the labor that it costs to provide that service. So these kind of breakouts are very helpful to us when we're doing analysis of the utility rate. Other than that, again, it's going to look pretty normal. There is one interesting line. It's on page 19, and the proof will be in the pudding on this one, but on page 19, and it's number 242502. It's a sewer plant power. You will see that we're projecting in 2027 for that to drop by almost 200,000, and that's because our new plant is supposed to operate that much more efficiently than the current one. And those are great wins, because there's probably going to be some debt financing on it, and that will help cover the interest on the debt financing and those types of things. So we've tried to capture that where we know those things are coming. And I think that's all we need to touch on, unless there's questions, of course. I think that's all we need to hit on the utility one. And then the blue one is the electrical department. Now, we're gonna talk about this on an upcoming item here, but you are unique in the province that as a council, you are the board of directors for an electrical distribution system in the regulated environment. So only you and the Council of Ponoka have that honor. And some days I don't know if that's the right word, but you have that honor. So you act as a board of directors in an industry that likely none of you know anything about. So we're gonna work through this together, but we'll talk about that a little more later on. So we have this electrical distribution system. It's always a discussion about the benefit to that for the community. There's always a buyer for it. This council last year did a full analysis with KPMG, and we'll talk about that sometime when we get more into this, about whether the town should sell or retain it. The decision was to retain it, and there was a number of good reasons for that. But we do break out there. I do try and treat this one almost more like its own standalone business than anything else, because I want to see what the benefit to the ratepayer is to keep it. It's just, that's such an important question. So when you look at, again, we're on the blue band, we have a small chunk of incomes on it. So domestic transmission charges, commercial transmission charges. Sometimes we do some custom work. We do work for other parties. We do work for business, people or businesses in town. And then there's the distribution charges as well after that. So we've taken about 3.1 million in revenue on the electrical system. Now we turn around and pay a good chunk of that back to Fortis for bringing all that power to town. So 1.4 million is our distribution access tariff, so that goes right back out. And then we use the rest of that to manage the system. And you'll see those different expenses, and that's all in there. But the important thing on this one is the very, very last item on the second page, page 24, but the very last line. And this is the one I'm always looking at. And again, this is not balanced, so please don't take this exactly, but in 2026, we currently have $517,100 to transfer to the tax and utility budget. So what we're saying is the electrical system will have a profit that will offset what you need to look at for taxation. So that's the benefit to the community. That's the reason you would keep it, is the 517,000. Now that number is going to change as we balance things, but that's always an important number to keep our eyes on. Because if that number gets really, really small, we have to start asking ourselves, why do we take on all that risk and regulatory headache if it's not doing anything for us? And we have to always keep that top of mind. So the electrical system we do treat, at least from a budget point of view, so we can keep an eye on those types of things. That's all I wanted to go over on electrical. Now I just want to touch briefly on the 8.5 by 11, which is the 5-year capital. And I'm not going to go into any projects or anything tonight. What I want when you look at this, I want to just break down, what you're looking at. So it's listing all of the projects that we're proposing to do in any given year. And again, these are capital, so they meet a certain threshold. They're a minimum dollar with an expected life of a certain length. We're not just paying the power bill. These are things that we're buying that have a lifespan to them. So we list, here's what we're projecting and how much we think it'll all cost. So this one is roughly 3.351 million. Now it doesn't have a couple of our big projects because we haven't moved them forward yet. So Clubhouse Sewer Plant. So this literally could land at 28, 30 million by the time you're done the budget. But right now it's at 3.351. As you go over the page, you see a number of columns with numbers in them. It says LGFF, CCBF, reserves. Those are major grant funding pieces. So LGFF is the Local Government Fiscal Framework. That's our largest grant. It's our largest capital grant. It comes from the province of Alberta. So we are saying that in 2026, we anticipate we're going to take in $877,000 in LGFF. And here's how we want to spend that. So in each of those projects, that the walking trail extension by the fire hall, for example, is 50,000. We plan to spend LGFF on that. The next column over is the Canada Building Fund. This is essentially the gas tax. That's the fancy name for the gas tax. We generally use this for road and paving and those types of things. So you can see we intend to take in 266,000. We're planning to spend 80 on 8th Street West and the West Bypass Ditch Storm Drainage Upgrades Phase 1. We'll explain all that to you later, I promise. But so we try and list where it's coming from. If it's coming from reserves, so we've been planning to save for that thing, and this year we're doing that thing. You can see there's a reserves line. Taxes mean we're just taxing for it. That's how we're funding it. And other could be another grant that isn't listed. It could be that we're buying a new piece of machinery and we're selling the old one and that revenue is in the other, for example. It could be a number of things, and we'll explain that each one when we get to that. But I just wanted to show you how this breaks out, and then it goes over for a few pages over 5 years.
Counselor Kenley.
Not that we're getting into this, but what is a fall arrest system?
I believe that's at the water plant, if I'm not mistaken.
Figured.
What number, Counselor?
Sorry, 241762.
Oh, it is in the fall. Yeah, I believe they're using, I believe that's for the water plant when they go in the filters, right? Yeah, so when they have to go down in those filters, it's something they harness into
Oh, okay.
so that they can't drown.
Gotcha. That's good.
So, yeah,
Short,
to that.
short answer.
Yeah. Okay.
At least fall from a great height or drown.
No, I don't want to get into anything. I just
Yeah.
that was one that I just
No, and again, we'll definitely get into all those lines, and we're waiting to hear back. Actually, you bring up this one. We've asked Curtis to look at his stuff and prioritize it, update his numbers. So one of the challenges when you do a 5-year capital budget is, especially in this nice tariff environment we're in, guaranteed your prices are hardly valid a year later.
Yeah.
So the guys have to go back to market on these and say, okay, we thought it was going to be this last year, but it happens to be a bunch of metal, and now there's this, or the components come from China, and there's now 100% tariff on items into the U.S. from China, and we happen to be buying it from an American wholesaler, for example. So they're doing that right now. That's what the departments are refreshing numbers on their long-term capital. So that is how the 5-year capital budget works. So
Any
I-
questions?
yeah, I hope that gave you a bit of an idea before we really jump into it a little bit more. But again, we try and bring you something reasonably close. I don't like to say, hey, council, we got to get down to 3 million and we're at 30. Let's go. We usually say we've prioritized. We need your input on a few things because, we need to prioritize some stuff. We're good either way. What do you want to do next?
Sounds good. Thank you. So let's keep moving.
Make a motion that we take a break.
It is 5:30. If you want.
Sounds good. A motion for a break. All in favor?
So washrooms downstairs. We do have just some snacks and stuff. We didn't think we were going to be super late tonight. It's only 5:30, but we've got just a few finger foods in the back. You're welcome to them. In probably 10 or 15 minutes or so.
So, Counselor, I think you're right as far as the Remembrance Day goes. I would agree. I won't be putting in a per diem for that day because it's
It's a community event.
for sure. But normally, it's yes to those kinds of things.
Kent, or Counselor,
You're gonna
sorry.
do it again. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Go ahead.
I want to make a motion to come back into regular meeting.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you. Nailed it. Okay, so we're going into 5C. So proposed land use bylaw amendment. So this was Counselor Selk. I'll turn the time over to you.
Okay. You want just a
Yep.
little?
Sure do.
Okay. There was some thoughts that were expressed to me by some citizens about,
Just come a little closer
Container.
to your microphone so we can hear
about
you.
containers in town. And it would appear that Red Rooster is looking to reshape the back part of their lot to maybe accommodate more containers. And I expressed some concerns to administration and the mayor about having containers plunked down that close to Main Street. And so that's kind of the background. And anyway, Jeff had suggested that maybe administration should look into the land use and the number of containers that are supposed to be in various places around town for storage purposes. And let me see. I don't know, Jeff, do you have anything more to add, or I can just go right to them?
Actually, so let's Counselor Court and
I
then
just
we'll
wonder
go
if
to
it's
Jeff.
been cleared already, because he's already done a ton of work and got all this stuff jammed in there, and
Oh.
nothing's been approved. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, so this is a great example with the new council that again, Counselor Selk just came to me and said, here's my concern. And I said, great, I'll put something on your next agenda. So I just did a little request for decision form. And so what I put on there, and I'll just go through, is if you want to explore this more formally, you actually need to direct administration to do that. So one of the things, Mayor, permission for a little sidebar here, but it's important. I've run into this before where councils have some discussions and they're like, oh, that's a good idea, we should do that. And then there's no motion. And we get a meeting or two down the road and then Counselor Selk's like, when are we talking about what are you doing on my deal? And I say, oh, I didn't know I was doing anything on it. You didn't make a motion on it. So it's critically important that you say, direct administration to do the following. So what I've drafted here, if you agree with the direction that Counselor Selk is proposing, is to direct administration to bring back information related to CCAN containers in commercial zoning, and further to direct administration to cease providing permits for CCAN containers until after the review of the matter by council has been concluded. So again, this is telling me very clearly that the majority of you at least want this to be done. And so that's why these things are important and resolutions are important. So I think administratively, actually, I didn't tell you this, Counselor Selk, I told you, Mayor. I brought that back to Nolan and he says, actually, I've been doing some homework on that already. He says, I've got some other concerns and I wouldn't mind addressing this.
Okay.
And I said, okay, great, I'll take this motion to council, see if they'll direct us accordingly. So we do support looking into this administratively.
Yeah. I think it's also important to say, so it's different between residential and then business. So residential right now, how previous council had it, and correct me if I'm wrong, those of you that remember, it was my understanding that in order to have a shipping container in your yard, you had to get approval from the town. You would get a permit for a temporary use, and it could only be on your property for X amount of days. And then it wasn't years, it was X amount of days. And then after that, it would be removed. But it's a little different in business because business is business. And so it's looked at a little differently. So it's a matter of where are they putting it? How many are you allowing them to have? So these are all questions that Counselor Selk has brought up that I think are valid. So I guess the question is this council, here's your big, this is it, we're starting big. So the question is, does this council support the idea of having administration look into this further? Because that's all we're doing. We're just essentially asking administration to look into this, find out more information, and then we can make a decision from there. So Counselor Selk, do you want to go ahead and make that motion then?
I will. Can I just say,
Go ahead.
Mayor, that the reason this concerns me is because of the proximity of these new containers to Main Street. We already have enough issues with Main Street that I don't know that we need to add to the troubles. There, having said that, I'd like to direct administration to bring back information related to C-can containers and commercial zoning. Further, to direct administration to cease providing permits for C-can containers until after the review of the matter by council has been concluded.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. All right, we're moving on to 6A. So this is under other business, so organizational structure review. This is
Okay.
you, Jeff.
Just information for you. We're gonna pick away at this as the council meetings go on. I'm gonna put this up on the screen, but most of you should have this org chart in your package, but I'll pull it up just so I can move through it here a little bit. Maybe, yep, there it goes. So I just wanted to show you administratively how we've constructed staffing and how the organization looks. So pretty typical org structure. In our case, starts with council and then myself. So you had your orientation that talked about I'm your one employee, and then I get to work both ways in the organization. So I liaise with you guys to get direction, get funding, get all that stuff, and then I work through the organization to make that happen. And then with me, and I don't know if we've actually done formal introductions, which I feel a little bad about, is the assistant administrator, Joshua Langell. So he's been with us for a year and a half, 2 years. Probably should have done a review or something, so I know that. But Joshua's been with us a couple of years now, doing excellent work. I've really appreciated previous council allowed me to be able to bring in some more administrative capacity to try and help with some of that high level stuff. I used to be the assistant administrator for Marion. I was trying to see if we could go on without that role potentially by doing more with our directors after I became CAO, and I just got too far behind. And so I've appreciated Joshua here. He'll be at all the meetings with us going forward. And then we have a series of foremen or managers. So we have our Parks and Rec foreman. And then we have, and under here, I'll just go down the line. There's 3 full-time Parks and Rec staff. We used to have 2. This year we added one. We used to contract the work at the cemetery. So openings, closing, maintenance of the cemetery. We put it out for bid because the contractor let their contract expire. They didn't want to renew it. And the prices we got back were just wild. We did get good bids. We got multiple bids. The prices were incredibly high. We were able to hire someone and get them 2,080 hours a year for less than what the contract was going to be. Joshua's been working with Parks and Rec. We're doing some work over the winter months now to give some help out at the transfer station, to do some other admin planning here in the office, and I think it's going to be a good thing. So that's why we have 3 in Parks and Rec. One of those is always assigned to the pool. One focuses on parks and has like the herbicide certifications and spraying certifications, those types of things. And so each of them kind of have their distinct roles within Parks and Recreation. We have good staff overall. I will say that very clearly. That will be a common thread you'll hear as I go through this. We have a lot of seasonal in Parks and Rec, and we also have a campground contractor, so that foreman oversees a contract as well. And then you have the office, who Jill is our office and finance manager behind you there. She's filling in for our normal clerk. Shem is usually the one doing the minutes. Jill's filling in. And then we have facilities clerk. Some of you met facilities manager. That was Ryan Knoll. Some of you met him yesterday when you were in the office. FCSS is 0.5. So Caitlin does that halftime. And then we have museum and seasonal, and then a number of contractors. Our auditor, the assessor, the Tourist Information Center, and the accountant. So we have those people as contractors. The library is interesting. The library operates under its own board, under its own act, but the town employs the manager. So the board actually dictates the activities of the library. I meet with Mary Lou a couple times a year. Just how's it going? Do you need anything? They do a great job, and the library board directs those things under the legislation, but she is one of our employees. And then development officer, which is Nolan. So Nolan does all the development officer stuff and also our safety program and some IT and insurance, which has been very busy since the hail. So he's in the office and doing that. Now, as we go down a little further, we get into our outside departments. So on the very far left, Director of Engineering and Public Works, that's Brandon. Brandon Jensen, and he oversees, we have a fleet mechanic manager. So we used to have a mechanic, and we've expanded that to be managing all of the fleet from all the departments at the town. We have an infrastructure and development services coordinator. This is, I guess it's a really fancy name for the guy that helps Brandon. And he's great. We've seen tremendous value in that position. We've made more updates and upgrades and improvements in our GIS and mapping system in this last year than we have in the other 16 years I've worked for the town. And someday we should go through that. It's really getting to be quite something, quite amazing. We now have what's the age of the pipe, what's the material of it, how long does it go here, where is it located. We have all this information now all on our GIS system, and it's getting to be a very good tool for us. And this position's done a ton of work, especially in the winter on that. They can really get into the computer programming. And then we have our water wastewater foreman and the 2 full-time employees. Again, a number of you met them yesterday, so Terrace and Wade and Curtis. Great department, those are great guys. Public Works, we have the foreman, and then we have 5 under there, but we only have 3 full-time there. And I need to look at that number again now that I see it. That seems, yeah, there's the 3. We used to have the mechanic in that number, I think is why. So I'll tweak that number, but there's just 3 in Public Works. We usually have 1 or 2 seasonal, and then the transfer station and garbage contractor fall under that foreman. We have our electrical, which is, we have our foreman and 1 other lineman, and often, not always, but sometimes we have a seasonal. Golf, we're changing a little bit how that works. I'm not gonna have this upcoming year, we won't have a golf pro like we've had traditionally. We're breaking that up into 3 distinct things. I'll talk about that more potentially in the closed session, because it's not set in stone yet, it's not done yet. We hire a lot of seasonal at the golf course. Then we have our peace officer and our animal control and Main Street person. So Leor and then Gary. So you'll see Gary early mornings a lot of times down on Main Street, collecting all the garbage, cleaning up curbs and gutters, and then he does animal control the rest of the day. Yeah, okay, just doing computer stuff. So again, I just want you to be aware of kind of who's who in the zoo and how we set this up. And again, great team. We've got a lot of seasoned people. We've had a little bit of turnover in the office this year, but it was related to moving away from the community on one account and maternity leave on the other account. But we've been really lucky. We don't experience much turnover at the town, and that creates some good institutional knowledge and some people that know a lot of good things. We've got, grader drivers that know where the higher manholes are versus the lower manholes, so they don't clip them in the winter. It's just that kind of little stuff that becomes very valuable. So good team, and please come to me with questions about any of that.
Councillor Selk.
So Jeff, can I just ask who some of these people are?
Sure, yeah.
So who's the library manager?
Mary Lou Nichols.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talked to her today.
And who's the Brandon's right-hand man, infrastructure development services?
Brock Deuce.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, he is now. Yeah, he's been seasonal with us for years. In fact, his season started stretching where it was April to September, October, December, March. So, great kid, doing really good work for us. And so Brandon's just seen tremendous value. Brandon is really busy. He's got a lot on his plate, so he deals with costing out all the capital, designing all the capital, inputting into our GIS asset management systems, all the regulatory filings, Alberta environment stuff, all that. So yeah, he's really busy, and he's been wanting to get this GIS done forever, but it's been a challenge. So it's been a good project.
I have to excuse myself.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Good luck tonight.
Yeah.
I will just add, Councillor Winder has prior commitment. He's in the play, so we're break a leg. I feel like.
Council to watch it.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead, Councillor.
And Jeff, what was I looking at here? Oh yeah. So for your public works employees, you have Dooney and you have Mario.
Yeah, Dooney and Mario and Derek Young.
Okay.
So a younger guy, just started with us. He's been a few years now. And then we have Dylan as the mechanic, Dylan Beamer.
I was impressed when we were touring yesterday that with your public works guys, they kind of do, like Dylan, he's the mechanic, but he also drives a loader,
Yep.
drives a gravel truck, and
Yep.
drives whatever he needs to be driving and helping out.
Does
Yeah,
welding.
So,
Yeah, do some fabricating on the side, you bet.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
and they're all kind of like that.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, one of the nice things when you have a director, you can't ever break it down because there's competencies that have to be in each department, but you can bridge the silos a little better, right? So if they need drivers for something, Curtis and Wade will come from water, right? Brandon will give them a call. Hey, we need a couple hands on deck here. You bet, we're on our way. Wade still gets on the grader from time to time.
Well, I think
You
they
know,
all
that's-
it's all hands on deck when it's snow removal,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the electricians drive tandems. They have class 3 licenses. So the electricians are now driving tandem. Wade and Mario swap off who's running the grader so it can go 24/7. Everyone can jump in. It's been really good.
Oh, anyway, I just was gonna say, have an impressive team
Yeah.
in lots of areas in that.
Yeah, we do. Thank you.
And Counselor Johnson.
The animal control, Gary,
Marasco, I'm betting you don't know him. You might. He's relatively new to the community. Yeah. So he is, we got pretty lucky there. He has extensive experience with animals. He's had his own kennels and boarding, and he has this unique ability where you get some of these animals that they're hard to get gone anywhere, and he can train them quite quickly so that they're a little more socialized and a little more adoptable, and just has an extensive knowledge of animal behavior. So he's safe with the animals, like he understands what's safe and what's not safe, and yeah, he's been very good.
I was just gonna add, I saw him like a month ago. We were at the park at Lions Park with our kids, and he came down there and he pulled a dog out of the back of his truck, and I'm like, why is he taking a pout like a stray dog out? And he put a leash on it, and he was just walking around picking up garbage, and I'm like, oh, okay. He's just like, kind of in a way, like you said, training this dog or making it more like friendly, I guess. But he's had it out with them and picking up the garbage. I was like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, had to do garbages. Figured he'd take it where there were some people running around. Yeah, sure.
Some of my grandsons doing.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, good group.
Awesome.
We're not going to get into that, Councilor Court.
Counselor Selk.
I did notice, Jeff, that we get $1,500 in revenue from cat licenses and pound fees.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Clearly, they're not taking into account all the cats in my neighborhood.
Well, if they're licensed,
It'd be $10,000.
yeah, yeah, it's the licensing.
All right, so moving right along. Any questions in regards to that? Any other questions? I think it's safe to say that the town of Curdston is incredibly blessed. We have fantastic staff in all departments, and like you previously said, they cover for each other and work really well together. So thank you to all. So we'll go to 6B, Electrical System Code of Conduct.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see.
will try and make this as painless as
Exciting.
possible, but it's hard to do. I have to do this orientation with you as part of the Alberta Utilities Commission regulations. So this is what's called a Code of Conduct seminar. I will actually report back to you quarterly on Code of Conduct. So we operate a distribution electrical system in the regulated space. So we are bound by our franchise, and we are not a competitive market industry. So the electrical industry is broken down over a number of pieces. And if you have the slides in front of you, I'll also put them up here. Pre-1996, you had utility groups like TransAlta. Those of us who remember TransAlta Utilities, they did everything. They did generation, transmission, distribution, the billing, the whole works. So you can't do that anymore. Today's regulation requires that every function is a separate subsidy, and some of them are regulated and some of them are not. So we'll use ENMAX as an example because we're familiar with them. ENMAX has a number of corporations. They have generation, which operates in the competitive market. Then they have ENMAX Power, which is distribution, which is in the regulated market. They have ENMAX Energy, which is partially regulated, the rate of last resort portion. Then they have their ENMAX Energy Retailer and Commercial Energy Retailer. So they've had to break that out over a number of divisions to show, ideally, its transparency between the divisions. Now, as a distributor, well, I'll back up quick. So there's a regulation called the Code of Conduct Regulation, and it's there to make sure that the market is fair and efficient and open for retailers. And I'm not going to try and read this verbatim, but I'll have a lot of that. It's basically saying that if you are employed or operate one sector of the industry, you can't show preference to another sector of the industry. That's what it's saying. Now, let me give the moral of the story first. Someone walks into the town office and says, "Hey, I'm new to town. Who's the best electricity retailer that I should get?" My staff are programmed now to say, retail customers in Alberta have a choice of retailer. Refer to the UCA website for details. We don't say, "Hey, this one's the best one to get," because we're a distributor that's preferencing a retailer. Now, the town of Cardston, we have about 40 approved retailers that can operate in Cardston. So they apply to the town. We have some work we have to do with them. For example, if you want to be a retailer in Cardston, you apply to me. You have to put up security, a credential, for what you think your monthly revenue will be, so that if you get paid but you don't pay me, I take it from the credential. So we have to put all that stuff in place. It's part of the deal. So we have roughly 40 retailers in town that all have, based on the size of their operation, different levels of cash as credentials for security. And actually, for the first time ever, it was last year, we had to draw on one. I've never had to. But you might remember this fiasco of Just Energy in Texas. So Just Energy has a Texas operation and an Alberta operation. There was a massive storm in Texas, and it knocked all the power out. And Just Energy ended up being on the hook for millions of dollars in just a few hours. And it caused interruption to the whole business. I think they're back and everything's all good in Alberta now, but there was some time there where it was a challenge. They had some cash flow challenges, let's put it that way. And we worked through it and everything's fine. There's still massive amounts of litigation going on behind the scenes, but for us in Cardston, it's immaterial and it's fine. But we do see those things happen from time to time. So you are the board of directors of an electrical distribution company, and as such, going forward, you do not publicly have an opinion on the best players in other segments of the market. And you have to be very careful with that. So just what my slide said here, we're subject to this code because we supply distribution service to retailers, and we're affiliated by contract with ENMAX. So they handle our billing for us. So we collect customer data, we provide it to retailers, meter reading, switching of customers, billing of retailers. And then we have, you've heard this in the news the last year, the rate of last resort. It used to be called what did it used to be called? I'm already forgotten. Anyway, they changed the name of it to sound more ominous and something you really don't want to be on. The regulated rate option, is what it used to be called. So we have contracted with ENMAX to provide a regulated rate option because we're the distributor. I'm not asking you to follow all that, but the point is we have contractual obligations with other entities and we can't be shown to give preference to them. So what we have to do is appoint a compliance officer, that's me, develop a compliance plan, been done for a long time, have it on the website, establish processes to report, submit to audits, and educate and train employees. So I have to do this with staff too. When you come on as a new staff member, you have to go through all this and sign off. So when interacting with the public, government agencies, it is non-compliant to suggest service from the town is dependent on a certain retailer, suggest that customers of any retailer receive preferential treatment, treat any retailer differently, provide information about one service that encourages contact of one over another, solicit business or give appearance you're acting on behalf of a retailer, but just advise a customer, or we can't advise a customer on matters related to the retailer, rather direct them to ucahelps.gov.ab.ca. So that's always our position. And trust me, we get this question a lot, and rightfully so. People come in, "Hey, I'm new to town. Who should I get for water?" So, well, ENMAX does water, sewer, garbage. Okay. What about my electricity and gas? Alberta customers have a choice when it comes to their retailer. For more information. So we go into that mode immediately. And so as counselors, there's some assumption that you may know who's best in the area. Maybe you do, but you leave the people to do their own homework on that. So and this slide is just showing that. People might ask, do you have a favorite retailer? Does the town have a special deal because you're through NMAX? Do I have to buy my power from NMAX? If I buy from a different retailer, does the town charge the same price? Yes, by the way. Does this town set the price on the rate of last resort? Is Roller a better deal? No is usually the answer to that, but it changes all the time. So we provide the same distribution service for any retailer in the community, and residents can choose whatever retailer they want. So if there is a non-compliance, and this is what I will be reporting, and you guys that have been on have seen this before, I bring you a code of conduct compliance report. In my entire career, we've never had a complaint, and I expect that to continue. So they can complain to the AUC. The AUC sends me a notice that there's been a complaint, and how are we going to resolve it? Again, never had to, thankfully, knock on wood. So what I would ask again as counselors, you are by default the board of directors for a distribution company. Do not preference a retailer in the community in that role. So that's really the long and short of it, but it is mandatory that we just had to go through those slides. So what I do now actually is I just take the minutes of this meeting and I put it in my code of conduct compliance binder, and it just shows that we've all been through it. So that's it on code of conduct. Was there any questions? I hope I could answer them, but
That was exciting.
it's a
I
very
appreciate that.
technical little space. Let's
Any
put it that way.
questions? All right, we're just gonna move right along. 6C, website and resource overview.
Okay.
Jeff, I think it's you
Yeah,
again.
it's me again. I promise, Councillor Smith, you're not going to hear this much from me at normal meetings. When we get all your computers here and when everything's going as it should, I just wanted to show you really quickly. This isn't fully done, but you will all go into the website. You'll have a username and password on the town website, cardston.ca/council. You'll log in, and we are going to be putting your agendas and resources on this page. So when you first come in, you're going to have this council email. You can click on this, same username and password, and it'll log you into your council email. If you want to have us install like Outlook or another email server on your computer and have it go to there, that's fine too. But this is just where we parked it for now. Your council meetings, if you need to attend remotely, the link is right here. You'll just click that and we'll be waiting for you when the council meeting starts. There is a phone in here if you need to just call in, but with technology like Zoom, you can just phone into that too. And that works very well. And then below that is council meeting agenda packages. So some of you are using this for the first time tonight. So here's what you're just doing tonight. This was your organizational meeting. And so what we've tried to do is, for example, 3A is the council procedural bylaw. If you just click on 3A, it's going to open that item in your browser. It'll always open in a separate window, so then you can just close it and you're back where you started. And so this is where we're going to upload your meetings every week or every 3 times a month. And I'll share with you, this does a couple things for us as a town. I don't mean to point fingers at any previous councilors. But when we use the shared drive, some of you would be like, oh, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to download that. And then it disappeared for everyone because it was a shared drive. And so this way, no one can manipulate the data. You can open it, you can download it, you can print it, you can do whatever you want, but you can't ever change what's there. And so all of your meetings, as you now start to attend council meetings, they'll stay here pretty much forever, your whole term. You can always go back to them. We haven't done it for a while, if there is specific confidential information on there that we don't need anymore, we've had the meeting, we've made the motion, we may delete that, just so we're not having that on the site that could be hacked or something. So there may be some times where we're like, hey, that was particularly sensitive. They've made their resolution now. We're just going to get rid of it. And so you just won't see an attachment here anymore. It'll still be on the agenda. You just won't see the attachment. The other thing I just wanted to draw your attention to, if you are, say watching 18-inning baseball games and need something to do till late into the night, we're going to try and populate as much as we can in these council resources columns. So For example, on this, we'll have your committee assignments and information, expense sheets, for example, for the electronic submission. That'll all go here. We're going to put, in fact, it was under council orientation, sorry. Under council orientation, you have things like the CAO Council Covenant, key municipal plans, policies, and projects, budgeting and financial administration, public participation. We're going to try and populate this with just a ton of stuff so that you always have access to it. Like under key municipal plans, policies, projects, strategic plan, land use bylaw, municipal development plan, area structure plan, intermunicipal plan, all the policies, all the projects. So we're going to just keep populating this. And that way you've always got this stuff accessible. By way of policy and bylaw, if you just go on the public facing cardston.ca, go to policies or bylaws, that's usually the most current version on the website all the time. So, or shoot me an email and I'll send you something. But this is still a work in progress. But I just wanted to show you that we're trying to give you guys everything you need under one page. And hopefully it's a helpful thing. We think it's going to work out pretty well, actually.
Councillor Court.
Yeah, compared to the last one, this is great.
Good.
Awesome.
Really great.
Yeah, good.
And so it'll be ongoing updates.
Yep, we'll update it all the time. And again, your agendas will just continue to build in there. So you can go back as your term goes on, you'll always have all of your agendas in it. And all that backgrounder and all those RFDs and all that stuff will be there.
And Shem will set all this up for you if you come into the office.
Yeah, your computer should be here any day, Counselor.
Okay.
They've got it. They were just putting Word and putting all the stuff on it. We gave them your username and they were getting that already. So
Okay.
we'll call you in and have that ready to go. Counselor Johnson will have yours ready to go.
Good.
But yeah, I just wanted to show you through it.
Thank you.
Please don't think you can't ask us about this again. Come in the office anytime and we'll walk you through it. Most of us in the office will be fairly familiar with it from populating it and working on it.
Sounds
But I
good.
just wanted to go over that for first meeting stuff.
Yours really good at it too.
Is he? All right, there you go.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move into 6D, Cardston County Grant Support.
I have a
So-
question first.
Okay, go ahead.
So, when I came in with my laptop, Shem just told me to set it up myself.
Okay.
I brought my
Quite
niece.
frankly, I'm not completely computer illiterate, but when I went home to try and log in, I could get
Okay.
nowhere.
Okay. We'll get some more helpful help. That was redundant. We'll get that sorted out for
Send some
you.
instructions in.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
went in there and he just set it up for me.
Yeah, I know,
Rock's
he
good at
told
it,
me.
and so's Leor. I mean, they're
And what
both
we
pretty
could
good.
do as well is take your council login and your email login and even just print a thing and, for the first little while, tape it right on the edge of the laptop so there's
Right
no
here.
question. Yeah, right. Yeah, you got that whole bottom bar. We
That's
can
right
put it
there.
on there for you.
Yeah, no, okay.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Well, he
Ken.
did point out that he did help Counselor Court,
Yeah.
but the rest of us were on our own.
Okay,
Oh.
You're a big deal.
I'll work on that.
All right, so I'm gonna go on to Cardston County Grant Support. Consider grant support on this one. So this is the Cardston County Grant Support. So this, actually, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, in your backgrounder, I just had an RFD. The Cardston County is looking to write a grant under the STIP program. One of the things that helps those is if you have intermunicipal support for it. They're not seeking financial contribution to it, but they are looking for a letter from this council that says that they support the application. Administration does recommend that we support this. The county has recently supported an ACP grant from the town. And if I might be so frank, it's been great since they took the airport over.
Yeah.
And so what we can do to help there, I think is appropriate.
Councilor Kinley,
I was just gonna make a motion, but you can.
hold. We've got a couple of questions, I think.
Nope, I was
Oh,
gonna make that motion too.
And Councilor Court, were you making?
No.
Okay, so Councilor Kinley, go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to send a letter of support to Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors in support of the Cardston County STIP grant application for the airport.
Perfect. Any questions? All in favor?
Mayor,
Yes.
again, just because it's first meetings.
Yep.
Generally, letters are always interesting. We see them handled two ways. One is sometimes it'll be like direct administration to write a letter to so-and-so, and then I'll usually bring it back for you guys to review and make a motion to send it. Some of this case though, we'll just write the letter, the mayor will sign it, it'll be gone. I don't intend to bring that one back. It's not particularly controversial. we can't really go too wrong with it. But if there's something sensitive, sometimes it's like,
For sure.
administration draft the letter,
Yeah.
bring it back.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we're all good. We'll make a motion to send it, but this will be I'll call you in to sign it and we'll send it on.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So 6E is actually non-relevant anymore. It's been taken care of, so there's nothing we need to do with that. So we will go 7. There are no committee reports, so we're gonna go past that one. Any questions? Counselor? Go
Can I
ahead.
just ask, so under this committee and other reports, so as we move along and we have something to say about of our committee, then this is where we would report.
Thank you. That's a great question. So, Counselor Smith, how it works is all of these committees that you've been assigned to, typically they will take their own notes and they will submit them to you. And then it's your job to then send it to administration. And then administration, once a month, will put it in. We'll put in our committee reports and then we read them for each other so we know what's going on. And sometimes you'll say, oh, this is going on and I think you should be aware the prices of this are going up or whatever it is. That would be the meeting in which you bring it up. So thank you for pointing that out. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Councilor
you
Kinley.
kind of went really quick over the festival lights one.
It's
I just
already-
wanted to know they were under the understanding, is that I'm getting?
So it's my understanding that they just have decided to relook at the fireworks for next year. Just a real short turnaround, and they just didn't want to go down that road for right now. But they're hoping that
So
we'll.
we're not giving?
We're not doing it in
No.
2025.
No,
Okay.
not for this year.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, questions,
You're
correspond.
so much quicker than the previous
I'm
meeting.
sorry. I can slow things
No, you're doing good.
down. Okay. On number 9, correspondence. So we've got the letter, Council Court. This is an invitation to you in regards to the meeting that they're having for the library. Are you able to go to that?
I will be in Florida.
I would love to go to that for you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I wouldn't feel terribly obligated, Mayor, but I mean, obviously, yeah, I don't know that it's super mandatory, but it's
Okay.
up to you guys, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk to our people. Okay, so that is 9A. 9B, that one is me, because that's the committee I'm on. I've already discussed it with them, so that's handled. May I have a motion to go in closed session? Counselor Selk,
Make a motion to go into closed session.
all in favor? Yeah. Mr. Selk. All in favor?
Mayor.
Can I have a
So you-
motion to extend?
Just to explain.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
You've hit your 3 hours, so a motion
That's-
to extend, you can't make motions in closed session.
Actually, this is
So
Tim's
you make it
motion,
now,
so-
even though it's a bit retroactive.
Yeah, so
So,
Counselor Court,
He looks at me for this
yeah, it's your,
one. I make a motion to extend till 7:25.
oh, yeah, 7:25, awesome.
Okay,
all in
7:20.
favor?
I was thinking it was 8.
And
Don't be doing
Do we have any motions?
we have
Oh,
no.
you do not.
All right, I will make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Actually, just for its worth, you do not have to get a vote on the motion to adjourn generally, do you? Do you remember that? I think you just have to entertain the motion to adjourn. I'll check that out for the next
Okay,
meeting.
okay.
Who's gonna
What's the
vote against
score
it?
there?
It's 2-1
2-1.
Okay.
for
I have a
Toronto.
question about process.